Sure.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for a short prayer and a salute to the flag? Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of all our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may He watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Terry, statement of publication.
Yes, take notice that this regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on this 19th day of August, 2019, has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Here.
Delina, Enriquez,
Here.
Kilpatrick. Here. McGill. Novak. Here.
Okay. At this point, I'm going to move that the following minutes be approved, subject to correction: the April 16, 2019 special meeting and executive session, the June 24, 2019 agenda session, the July 9, 2019 receipt of bids, the July 10, 2019 special meeting, July 16, 2019 receipt of bids, July 22nd, 2019 special meeting, executive session, regular and agenda sessions.
Second.
Councilpersons Buchanan,
I am going to vote yes on all but July 10th and July 22nd dates, as I was not there.
Delina. Enriquez,
Yes.
Kilpatrick.
Yes.
McGill.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Okay, Terry, proclamation.
Hear the following proclamation to be read into record, whereas approximately one-third of all fatal traffic crashes in the United States involved impaired drivers, and whereas impaired driving crashes killed 10,874 people in the United States in 2017, and whereas impaired driving crashes cost the United States almost $44 billion a year, and whereas during the past 5 years, New Jersey roadways experienced 36,778 crashes, and 679 fatalities involving impaired drivers. And whereas an enforcement crackdown is planned to combat impaired driving. And whereas the summer season of Labor Day holiday in particular are traditional times of social gatherings where it includes alcohol. And whereas the State of New Jersey Division of Highway Traffic Safety has asked law enforcement agencies throughout the state to participate in the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2019 statewide crackdown. And whereas the project will involve increased impaired driving enforcement from August 16th to September the 2nd, 2019. And whereas an increase in impaired driving enforcement and a reduction in impaired driving will save lives on our roadways. Now therefore be it resolved by the borough, that the Borough of Sayreville declares its support for the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over 2019 statewide crackdown from August 16th through September the 2nd, 2019, and pledges to increase awareness of the dangers of drinking and driving.
Would the proclamation be approved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next item, Terry.
We don't have executive session tonight, do we? Okay, we have under old business, the public hearing on the following ordinances. Ordinance number 461-19, bond ordinance providing for 2019 various capital improvements by and for the Borough of Sayreville and County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $800,000. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $760,000 bonds and notes of the borough to finance the costs thereof.
Now I'm going to open up the public portion for any or all comments regarding ordinance number 461-19. Are there any comments or questions? If none, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman McGill?
I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading, and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons McGill,
Yes.
Buchanan.
Yes.
Delina. Enriquez.
Yes.
Kilpatrick.
Yes.
Novak.
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 463-19, an ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance 435-19, fixing the salaries of certain borough officials, officers, and employees for the years 2019 through 2020. 2022.
At this time, I'm going to open up the public portion to any oral comments regarding ordinance number 463-19. Are there any comments? If none, I'll entertain a motion. Councilman McGill?
Thank you, Council President. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading, and advertised according to law.
Second.
Councilpersons Begill?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Delina? Councilman Delina? Okay. Just wonder if you were still there. Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Public hearing on ordinance number 464-19, an ordinance of the Borough of Saraville authorizing the acquisition of land identified as a portion of Lot 1, excuse me, Block 367.01, consisting of approximately 4.34 acres from K-Land Corporation for the purchase price of $1,430,000 from the Borough's Open Space Trust Fund.
At this time, I'm going to open a public portion for ordinance number 464-19. Mr. Robinson?
Thank you, Council President Buchanan. My name is Jim Robinson. I live at 11 Burrell Square in Parlin. As you know, the purchase of this property is in conjunction with a COA settlement that resulted in a 30% decrease in the number of market-rate apartments that will be built in town. That is a tremendous savings to the taxpayer. The purchase of this property to conclude this settlement means that Camelot 2, which would have had 300 apartments, will now have 150 apartments, with no decrease in the number of affordable units, which means we continue to fulfill our legal obligations. The 150 decrease in the number of apartments at the Ernston Road site alone will mean between 100 and 200 fewer kids in our schools, which is a savings to the taxpayer of at least between $1.4 million and $2.8 million each year. The amount of money you're spending on this property is $1.4 million. It's a one-time expenditure. You can save between 1.4 and 2.8 million every year on student costs alone. The issue of contamination has been raised by the mayor and Mr. Rittenhouse, and I respect those concerns. I presented the council, and I have again with me tonight pictures of that site as it is now, as it was in 1974, and as it was in 1930. And it is virtually the same, trees, trees, and more trees on that site. I ran a report of DEP contaminated sites in the area, and there are 5. This is not one of them, however. And most importantly, the agreement provides that in the event that there is contamination on the site, Kaplan, the seller, will need to remediate it. Now, the concern was that a railroad track abuts that parcel and there could be contamination because of that. Less than 1,000 feet of railroad track abuts that site. We have more than 42 miles of railroad track in town, most of which border industrial sites. But there's sudden concern about this site, which I respect. The good thing is that this agreement provides that if there is contamination, it will be cleaned up at Mr. Kaplan's cost. So this is really a win-win situation. If we do nothing and it's contaminated, it stays contaminated. In 1980s, we created the prime zone to put this property, and we put this property in the prime zone so that it would be reserved for public, recreational, institutional, municipal, or educational purposes, not apartments. My own personal preference is that it stayed just as it is, a heavily forested habitat for the many birds, frogs, turtles, and other animals that live there now. My neighbors and I thank the council for bringing this far. We thank you, Attorney DuPont, for your hard work on this, and especially with respect to the remediation in case there is contamination. We thank Mr. Kaplan for agreeing to the settlement. I'm sure it would have been in his best interest to build the apartments there and reap that money. The Open Space Fund was created so that we could have more parkland and less apartments. This ordinance does that. I urge you to pass it, and I thank you for that.
Any other comments? Mr. Rittenhouse?
Thank you. Arthur Rittenhouse, 33 Delacat Lane, Sayreville. My only concern and question was with the contamination is that after a lot of times, a developer will then want to take time and not necessarily do it and incur legal costs. My concern was to possibly have some kind of testing done before. But that doesn't seem to be what the borough likes to do, is test before we buy something or we enter into an agreement. And that was the main concern. With the railroad track going through there, as Mr. Robinson said, for so many years, that could be over 50 years' worth of contamination of things flowing down. Even though it's 1,000 feet, there's a small section of contamination on the next lot that flows into Birch Creek, which is not big and not even 1,000 feet. So contamination even within that could affect the people who are using that if it does become the park. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Ms. Mahoney?
Good evening, Ruth Ann Mahoney, 2 Gerard Place, Parlin. I just am hoping you're all in favor of this purchase. It is so very important to this town to keep some open space for all of us, now and in the future. We don't need the apartments. It's contamination, hopefully, it'll get cleaned up if it's contaminated, and if not, it'll stay with its trees. I hope you're all in favor, and I would thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Rhea Carroll from 3 Burrell Square,
First name
Parlin.
again?
Rhea, R-H-E-A.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to say thank you for all the work that was done for this, buying this open space. I mean, I love nature, and this is a beautiful place, and I think even if they put in walk trails or something like that, it would be a great extension from Kennedy Park, where young people can go and have a good time, and it'll be nice. It's great. And I just want to thank everyone for all the work they have done. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Anyone else from the public wish to speak? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move the public portion be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading and advertised according to law.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Novak?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Under new business, Council President, I'd like to report that I have received the supplemental debt statement as of August the 19th, 2019 from our CFO Denise Biancamano.
Move that it be received and filed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item?
Introduction of the following ordinances. Ordinance number 462-19, bond ordinance providing for the 2019 various park improvements by, in, and for the Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $910,700, therefore, and authorizing issuance of $865,000 bonds and notes of the borough for financing the cost thereof.
Councilman McGill?
Thank you, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second and final reading.
Introduction, please.
Introduction.
Oh, I'm sorry. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on,
Make that should be the date of.
9/9, right?
That's correct,
9/9.
thank you. Mhm.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons McGill?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance 466-19, bond ordinance providing for the rehabilitation of Dewhernal Well by and for the Borough of Sayreville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,300,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,300,000 bonds and notes of the water utility of the Borough of Sayreville to finance the costs thereof.
Councilman McGill, introduction?
I'm sorry, I'm a bit slow tonight. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing be held on 9/9/19.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons McGill?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Introduction ordinance number 46719, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 3 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to add Section 13-17 stipend for fire chief service award.
Thank you. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on September 9th, 2019.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
At this time, I'm going to open up the public portion for consent agenda resolution items. Consent agenda resolution items only. Anyone wish to speak on these items? If not, I move the public portion be closed and the resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Council President, I have the following resolutions to be read in full. Resolution 2019-268, whereas the governing body of the Borough of Saraville advertised for bids for a Borough Hall waterproofing project, and whereas the bids were received as of May 21st, 2019, and after reviewing the bids received, it was determined that the bid of the lowest bidder, MBT Contracting, and the second lowest bidder, M&N Contracting Services, must be rejected as non-responsive. And whereas the borough officials have determined that the third lowest bidder, Circle 3 of Venter City, presented an acceptable bill with only minor irregularities, now therefore be and is hereby resolved by the governing body, Borough of Saraville, that the contract be awarded to Circle 3 of Venter City for waterproofing upgrades to the Borough Hall in the amount of $393,000.
I move that the,
I have to open up. At this time, I'm going to open up the public portion for number 2019-267. Anyone have any comments, questions, concerns on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the public portion be closed and the resolution be approved on roll call vote. Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Novak?
Yes.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Resolution number 219-269, whereas on April 28th, 2014, the governing body of the Borough of Saraville adopted an ordinance formalizing its intent to commence the governmental energy aggregation program on behalf of all of the residential energy customers of the municipality. And whereas the Borough of Saraville on July 28, 2015, issued a request for proposals for a third-party energy supplier. And whereas after an evaluation of the proposals received, the borough entered into a written contract with Constellation Energy Services Incorporated. Constellation Energy Services Incorporated now wishes to assign said contract to Constellation. If I just want to say, make sure I said it correctly, that I'm just going to start the paragraph over. Whereas after an evaluation of the proposals received, the borough entered into a written contract with Constellation Energy Services. And Constellation Energy Services now wishes to assign the contract to Constellation New Energy Incorporated and extend terms of the contract to September the 11th, 2020. And whereas the governing body of the Borough of Saraville wishes to consent and assign the contract to Constellation New Energy Incorporated and to extend said contract to September 11th, 2020. Be it and is hereby resolved that the Council President Daniel Buchanan and Teresa Farbanik, Borough Clerk, are hereby authorized and directed to execute the necessary documents to accept the assignment and amend to the agreement of the provisions of energy supply services.
At this time, I'm going to open up the public portion to Resolution 2019-268. Yes, Mr. Rittenhouse.
Arthur Rittenhouse, 33 Delacat Lane, Saraville. Now, this is the energy aggregation. Now, does this mean that they're going to re-enroll everybody who opted out the last time?
Dan?
Because it's a different name of a company. It's
No.
now. So if you're opted out, you're going to remain opted out?
Correct.
Okay.
This is a corporate change of name,
But it's a
Same
new
company.
but it's a new contract.
but they're not re-enrolling. It's going to be the same. Who's ever in it now will be in it. Who's ever out is out.
Okay, and anybody new in town will be automatically enrolled?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the public portion be closed, the resolution be adopted on roll call vote. Second.
Roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Delina? Enriquez?
Yes.
Kilpatrick?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Dupont, report? No report, Mayor. Mr. Cornell?
No report, Mayor.
At this time, I'll open up the public portion for any and all items. Yes, sir, come on up.
Steve Malinowski, 28 Scarlet Drive in Parlin. No, I'm not going to ask you tonight about COA or Fulton's Landing. However, recently, I just went online to pay my quarterly taxes. And to my surprise, the website changed. And to my dismay, there's a convenience fee for paying via ACH, et cetera. It's not the amount of money. I also saw there was for those people that need to pay by credit card, there's almost a 3% surcharge. What I'm appalled at is, one, we didn't hear it at this meeting or any other meeting that there was a convenience fee. Having little background in this, what I'm appalled at is that how would we charge customers that are going to pay their real estate taxes via ACH, almost no handling whatsoever, versus walking into Borough Hall, handing in a check, processing a check, paper receipts, going into the bank, paying 3 times, waiting 3 days or 4 days to get the thing processed and get credit for it. So it's not the amount of money. It's the idea that we're going to charge residents paying big dollars, $1 or $1.05, to automate the payment into our borough. And to me, that's ridiculous. I know I've heard a lot from some of the residents that are saying, is this applied to the water bill that's due right now? The taxes? And a lot of people are talking about walking down to Borough Hall or mailing in a check, rather than just going online and you get credit next day. We get credit next day. So I'd like the Borough Council to think about revoking that, and it's not the amount of money, it's the principle. You get the convenience, we get the convenience, everybody wins when people pay in an automated way via ACH. So I'd like the council to entertain revoking that fee.
Thank you. Dan?
So let me give you an example of water, because I've gotten most complaints about water that have come to my desk. The water bill, we changed systems, we changed billing systems to be more efficient. That's something we did internally. Our CFO knows about it, and I agree that some of the residents don't know about it. The situation that we've been educating, and we should have done a better job of educating, it's not the fee, because what happens is, if you pay any other bill not to the borough, if you pay your mortgage, if you pay your MasterCard bill, you usually go to your bank, if you're online, and you go set up your bill pays online, and if you go through your bank, there's no charges. It would be the same way here that we're trying to educate some of the people. If you set up a Sayreville Water Department bill, okay, through your bank, there will be no charges. There won't even be the dollar charge that's even on there. The dollar charge is not to us. The dollar charge is to the administration fee of the group that set up this system. So it gets put in the same way. We would have to educate. We haven't done as good a job as we could have educating. But do people want to walk down here and pay their bills? Every quarter, you could take it like a meat market here. There are people, hundreds of people that come in and pay their bills. And they come in and they pay it. This new system that we have streamlines everything for us. For internally, it's better for us. So I don't know if your complaint is the $1.05 or if your complaint is we didn't notify the residents. It could be both.
It is actually both, because from a resident perspective, and this is a security perspective with online banking, et cetera, and I have a little bit of background in this, that the borough makes out when everybody pays online. Everybody.
The borough gets their money faster.
Correct.
Correct. And they can get their money faster also if the bank processes it.
And ACH, which is what this is running through, is next day credit with 21-day rescission.
Correct.
So what I'm hearing here is the new system is costing us $1, or whatever the fee might be. $1.05 was my experience. I've never, in my experience, anywhere have seen anybody for automated payments being paid a fee that streamlines. You don't have any clerical involvement. You don't have any paper mishaps. You have
If you look at this
sooner credit-
system throughout municipal government, there's charge, though.
Well, it's buried in the system, but not to the residents.
It's not
This-
buried, it's not buried in this, you're incorrect. It's not buried in the
I
system.
disagree with you,
Okay.
but that's okay.
Okay.
And I would like this council to visit, God bless you, revisit revoking that fee in favor of it, because lots of residents are saying, I'm not going to pay. I'm going to come down here, give you a check or mail a check in, process it. The water bill, that I spoke about here once before, where the billing date and the whole date was giving people penalties for paying on the due date or a day after the due date. That was my complaint there. So we have a complete lack of communication. I think we need to clarify a lot of that, and I really respectfully request that this council revoke a lousy dollar per person for those that want to automate and make everybody's life easier. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Yes, Mr. Rittenhouse?
Arthur Rittenhouse, 33 Delacat Lane, Sayreville. Just a quick question. I wondered if there's any update on the checking of the soil at the Fulton Landing site, checking it for contamination, or is it just being put off until SERA gets it? I've had several questions from residents.
Mike, do you have that answer?
I do not. I know that I called Mr. Lair about 2 or 3 times, and I have not had a return phone call back. I will follow up again tomorrow, and Mr. Rittenhouse, if I hear word, I either will have Mr. Frankel call you, or I'll call you.
Thank
And I'll
you.
text him this evening.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Yes, Ms. Mahoney, Ms. Torn?
Okay, my name is Christine Smith Horn, 23 Patton Drive, born and raised in this town. I have a
If
complaint,
you could just speak up a little bit.
pardon me,
If you could just speak up a little bit, they're having trouble
sorry.
in the back.
I'm not at home. The whole thing
Hold on, we're
over
gonna give you a
again?
hand mic.
Oh, no, I can do it. I
All
can
right, there you
go.
go. You got it.
There. Okay. Christine Smith Horn, 23 Patton Drive, lifelong resident. My complaint is about the captain of the Sayreville First Aid Squad with the comment he made on June 20th at the St. Stan's Carnival. If you need, good luck if you need an ambulance. 3 years ago, I had a heart attack. 100% blockage. I was very upset for the next couple of days. Now, he got a 14-day suspension, which is probation, whatever you want. But I think, and I want him removed from the Sayreville Emergency Squad. His name is Kevin Ott. And from what I gather, he's been getting away with a lot of stuff. So I really want the borough to get rid of him.
And if you could, I know we spoke about this item.
Yeah,
don't
I
know, Willie
wrote you the
Ken.
letters.
Yeah, you
Each
all
and
got
every
letters.
My name's Diane Horn, 23 Patton Drive, Sayreville. Yous all got letters. We went to police headquarters and filed a police report against him. In order to get him kicked off, if we have to press charges, we will. He was also privy to the information that you guys each individually got letters, and somebody had told him about that.
If you could, Dan, just explain the situation and what we've done so far. I know we spoke about it at the last.
I've taken it to the state as well.
So, the Sayreville First Aid Squad has their own bylaws. They have their own, they're
I know.
they're
I used to
independent.
ride.
I know, independent, and you were part of that. And they took it, they're supposed to take that action into their own hands to take complaints that they hear or investigate things. And that's where the probation of the 14 days came from.
He admitted it to the detective that did the investigation. So since he admitted it,
Mm-hmm.
we wanted him removed. People have gotten kicked off that squad for lesser, stupider things.
Well, you know, I think you know from the bylaws that, and I think you know some of the bylaws, that I believe that can't be done unless the Board of Trustees does that.
Which are his friends.
Well,
It's just that he gets,
And we never
I've-
got a letter of an apology. She never got a letter of an apology.
I mean,
Nothing.
my husband was on for 8, 9 years. Those guys worked out of the Public Works building. And here, these young ones, they get a new building, and he takes the chief's, the captain's vehicle on a ride. A couple of people had to pull over, and all he does is go into the Wawa parking lot. That was told to the detective, too. So I want something other than probation done with him.
Might be illegal that I have.
Yeah, I know.
You know, ma'am, you have the right to not only have a hearing before the board, and then you have the right to appeal any hearing that that board renders to this mayor and council. I'm not quite sure where that process is at this point in time, but what I can do is I can sit down with you and tell you the process, and then maybe someone could fill me in as to where the penalty phase is. And if you mind, after this meeting is completed, I'll certainly sit back with you at room 310 and go through the process if you want.
So 2 weeks ago, it was brought before the subcommittee of the public safety, and I requested that a letter go out to the EMS to find out their procedure, what they did, what they found, and what the result were. We gave them 30 days to respond. So it still hasn't come up yet. Once we get that, then we can talk to our attorney and see where we can go since they are autonomous. So we're working through the process. It's just we have to get information from a private organization here.
Okay,
There
thanks.
is a process, and I'll certainly sit with you after this meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joseph Horn. I'm a member of Melrose Host Company. This is my mother. Her address as well, 23 Patton Drive. Do they fall under the code of conduct for this borough? And if so, because you receive a non-tax stipend opposite of what the fire department gets, our stipend gets taxed. For some reason, theirs does not. I don't know how they're not supposed to pay taxes on free money they're getting at the end of the year. But also recently, not too long ago, the borough did have to open up and discipline for a racial slur made about Dexter back there, and the member was removed. So why is there a difference? Why aren't we stepping in and doing something about the guy? He's gotten away with way too much because somebody, maybe up here, is feeding or protecting him. When this happens, if there is an investigation, whatever, and nothing against you, ma'am, but in the past, Rory Zach, ex-fire chief, Kerbelny, ex-fire chief, member of the fire department, anytime something was done with the fire department, they had to abstain. They had to walk away. So nothing against you, I have nothing, but I ask that Councilman Novak not be involved in this whatsoever. Just because you're a life member, thank you for all the life that you have done. I was also a member of that squad, and like my mother stated, more people have been dropped and thrown out or suspended for stupider stuff. And it's ridiculous how much this one individual is becoming a bad apple for the whole bunch. We had an incident, and I'm gonna say it because it's not a HIPAA violation, because I'm talking about a general accident on Route 9 just over a week ago. And he pulls up in his vehicle that he considers his private vehicle and could do nothing for the patient because he didn't have no equipment on the truck. But we wanna ride around in it all day and break motor vehicle violations and not show up and do things for anybody. Okay? This is my mother, and I'm highly aggravated. I'm a 28-year career EMT for the borough of Carteret, the city of Perth Amboy, and I even served time in Trenton. And I have seen a lot, and what this kid gets away with is ridiculous. Something has got to be done, and I'm asking the council that if you're gonna work with my mother, that's fine, but you can't say you can't step up and do something when you did something for the slur that was made, and that individual was thrown off. So the council did step up, somebody, and I believe, I don't know if you were part of the public safety, Dan, then, but if that were the case, the same thing's gotta be applied now. Enough is enough. We can ride around and enjoy all the bells and whistles and crap on the community that, to me, that's a kick in the face, that you don't care when you make a statement like that to somebody. Because I wanna know, is the council gonna defend the first aid squad the next time someone in my family needs an ambulance at their house and it doesn't show up? Prove to me beyond reasonable doubt that he didn't do it on purpose. Or, as usual, they didn't get a crew out. And we gotta wait 30-plus minutes for Robert Wood, JFK, Morgan to come down, South River, East Brunswick. Prove to me that that wasn't the point. They didn't show up after that comment was made. Thank you.
Mike, if you could.
Yeah, there is a process, and What I will do is I'll have the opportunity to speak to not only the gentleman that just spoke, but also to the two women that just presented just a few seconds ago and go through the process. And I know that we're waiting for a response. So we're doing exactly the same thing that we did with the chief.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Mr. Horn, I believe, and I'm not positive, but I believe the action that was taken against the president of the squad was done by the Board of Trustees, not by the council, I believe.
Well, I was told that he came forward to hear.
No, he came forward to bring up the situation, but I believe, I just want to make it clear, okay, that I believe the Board of Trustees, no? No, the Board of Trustees handled it.
14 days probation,
No.
that's ridiculous.
I just want the other issue about the president. I just want to clear everything so you understand, that's all.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Eugene Johnson, 360 East Millstream Road, Cream Ridge.
I'm sorry, say that again.
My name is
You didn't
Eugene-
get it all caught on the mic.
My name is Eugene Johnson.
Eugene
Yes, Eugene.
Thank you.
Johnson, gotcha.
Yes, my address is 360 East Millstream Road, Cream Ridge. Oh, sorry.
Speak loudly into the mic.
My address is 360 East Millstream Road, Cream Ridge. Okay, I think that went through. Okay. I'm a member of the First Aid Squad, and some of the stuff that was said, I agree with. If you miss a duty crew, that's an automatic 30-day probation. 30 days. That could be because your mom was sick. That could be because you were sick. I was in the hospital with diabetes, and I got a 30-day probation. My partner, his grandmother turned 94, got a 30-day probation. Now, I'm going to bring up another situation. I was at the park for the July 4th fireworks, in which somebody came up to Justin Hoffer, our lieutenant, and said there's a missing child. And he went and called on the air, but unfortunately the radio malfunctioned probably because of where he was. He went to Kevin and says, Kevin, we should do something about this. Kevin turned around and says, stand here, this is not our problem. What do you mean this is not our problem? Last time I checked, a missing child is everyone's problem. 12 minutes went by before that went over the air. And not to mention, he sent us on another call to make sure that we weren't a part of it. If that's not retaliation, I don't know what is. Something else you need to know. You guys are familiar with the peage violations that were found in the building, correct? The squad was cited 11 times from what I was told. I was the employee rep. I've been retaliated against 4 times that I can recall, to the point that I'm exploring charges for unbiased intimidation. This has been a long-standing issue. The public has no idea what happens at this squad. It's shameful. It's scary. Last time I checked, if one of you guys need an ambulance, you guys are respected professionals, correct? Volunteer or not. I've been in EMT since before 2001. I'm a 9/11 responder. Just because we're volunteer means nothing. The public doesn't know the difference between paid or career. They know it's an ambulance. So leadership reflects by example. And right now we don't have it. If he's retaliating against me and he's making comments towards her, and he's getting a 14-day suspension, where does this stop? We used to have 50, 60 EMTs. If they ever requested mutual aid this time 5 years ago, it was a really busy day. Right now, you can't even get an ambulance. You're waiting almost 30 minutes. So if I'm at the building by myself, I'm rolling 941, yeah, you'll get care, but you have door-to-balloon times. There's so much stuff that's involved. This needs to stop. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Drew Hockman, 55 Ridge Avenue.
Can I speak when I come to the microphone, please?
Sorry. This better?
Yeah, as soon as you get to the microphone, start speaking.
Sorry, 55 Ridge Avenue, Drew
And your
Hockman.
name?
Andrew
Drew
Hockman.
Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome. I came tonight to support the EMS side of stuff tonight. Hopefully that'll come up later. But since we're on the Kevin topic, I'm going to give you a few options of things that have gone on. I was kicked off Several Emergency Squad less than 6 months ago because of a Facebook post. Was it right? Probably not. It did not deserve an expulsion. 6 members quit the day before that post was made. And I can't count on 2 hands anymore how many people have quit because of Kevin. the retaliations and the things that have gone on there between ambulances that have left football games where people have been hurt and we had to wait 20 minutes for an ambulance, to possible signing in for calls when he was never even near the building, no less working at another company, which results in money that comes to him from the borough when the clothing allowance comes out, to people being suspended or put on probation. If he knows or thinks that somebody's going to come after him or is going to put a charge against him, that person, including me and other people in our squad, have been suspended probation so they could not run for office. To make sure of that, Kevin made that happen. He puts people into those board trustees positions to make that happen. I was expelled without being able to fight for it because I was in Florida during my meeting for the board of trustees. And I was expelled. I never got a voice. Every union employee in the world has a voice to be able to speak or defend themselves. Innocent until proven guilty, correct? I was suspended, which I agreed with. I was fine with being suspended. That's okay. I was expelled without being able to say a word. 0, which is why I'm on Morgan at the moment, because I like being a volunteer in town. I kind of enjoy it. I think most people around me know that. I work hard. I work 4 jobs. 3 of them are EMS. I get it. But whatever he's doing has got to stop. He suspended an officer, an assistant captain, for calling a snow standby while he was doing his officership that he is in South Amboy. He suspended a member for doing his job. Things are wrong. And since we can't control it and the squad, the board of trustees can't control it, we're coming to you guys for help. That's where we're asking for. The only people that can stop him are you. There's a whole lot more. There's a list that I can go on for miles. I'm not going to take up everyone's time for this. There's more important things to discuss. But I'm just giving you my portion of it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Yes, sir. Come back. You have to restate, when you get up to the microphone, restate your name and address.
Yeah, I'm sorry. One of our members had to answer calls, so I'm speaking on his behalf. We spoke about this, so if I could just make an addendum to what I said.
Who's speaking?
State your name again.
My name is Eugene Johnson.
Thank you.
You can, more than welcome to speak.
Okay. I'm speaking because Anthony just took a call. But another issue that I know I brought to Becky's attention was for EMS and in fire, you have to have incident management credentials. Basically, if you're going out on scenes, major scenes, you're supposed to have what's called incident management, ICS-1, ICS-2. I'm a DFS instructor, in which I've offered to the squad more than numerous times to teach ICS. I teach hazmat. I pretty much teach anything fire and EMS. The other issue that's going on is Sayreville EMS has a boat, and they went out on the waters without notifying the Coast Guard, without notifying the state police. The boat crew's not even boat crew trained. The life preservers are not up to current code, which means if there was, God forbid, a rescue, I don't know how you're gonna make a rescue when you're not properly trained. There's only one person out of the squad that is boat rescue trained, and that's Lieutenant Hoffer, in which that particular day, myself and him were on an ambulance. And also on that particular day, he took out ambulance 945 with 2 members, and a call dropped after we were on another call. About 6 minutes went by after they got off the boat to call on a service, but that went mutual aid. That's unacceptable. If you're gonna be the captain of an organization, you need to have your credentials. The chief of Sayreville Fire, the captains, the lieutenants, they have to have their IML, which is incident management. IML level 1, level 2, level 3. The rules apply for EMS. It's called Executive Order 50 of 2009. And it is spelled out for senior officers, junior officers, ICS 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, I have it, and about 4 other members have it. Now, if Kevin doesn't have it, what makes him special? Because the decisions he makes the first few minutes is going to dictate how that scene's going to go. That's all I have. That's what Anthony wanted to say, but he answered the call, but I want to add that addendum. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public? Yes, ma'am? You'll be next. Come on, Ruth Ann.
Ruth Ann Mahoney, 2 Gerard Place, Parlin. This is about North Ernston Road and no truck traffic. Limited truck traffic for the warehouses. I'm still at it. I still want it. I feel it's necessary. If I walk down Ernston or North Ernston or drive down North Ernston, and it's not school time yet, the pedestrian crossing, as I said before, is extremely dangerous. Putting trucks on that road, tractor trailers, is going to make it worse. And once again, we have the school children walking to school. No lack of crossing guards. It's going to be a much dangerous situation. I feel very, very strongly about it. Residents in my area feel very strongly about it. And as I've been here before, I have not seen any changes made to the area near Washington Road for the pedestrians. There's nothing. And you put truck traffic, tractor trailers there, very, very dangerous. So I'm still at it. I'll keep at it. And I hope you can all understand that even though you're not living in that area, I see it daily, and there are, right now, more tractor trailers. For whatever reason, I don't know. And the dump trucks are horrendous. If they go 35, God bless you. Most of them are probably going 55. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go.
Alice Carter Mead, 10 Gerard Place, Parlin. I'm also here about the truck traffic on North Ernston Road. As you know, we just had the work done on repaving some of the streets, and a lot of traffic was diverted down North Ernston because of that. It was impossible to get out of our units at some times because of the backlog with traffic. Now, that was a isolated incident, but with the tractor trailer trucks coming down there, and as Ruth had said, they do not come down at 35, they come down at 50, 55, and 60. It is a very dangerous situation. God forbid a child gets hit. God forbid, we have runners, we have bikers that come up and down. That is the last or the first turnoff coming down, and it would really be a very dangerous situation. And I would request that you possibly consider banning truck or tractor trailer use on that road, except for local deliveries. Of course, you have ShopRite on the corner. Of course, they need their supplies. But to make that a thoroughfare for the storage units and the warehouses, that it would be devastating to the borough. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Maria Carroll, 3 Burrell Square, Parlin. And I agree with the woman that was speaking before. I travel on Ernston Road a lot, and just the other day, there was pedestrian crossing, so I stop and I wait until they're the other side, because that's what the law is. Somebody is slamming their horn behind me, and if you have truck traffic, the tractor trailers, they're not even gonna slow down for that. They do speed. Everybody speeds up and down that highway. You have children coming out of the high school. You have children coming out of the middle school. And I know this isn't, they're not supposed to do this, but you know what they're doing. They're walking and texting. You don't know, especially when the pizza place was open, they just walk right across the street without even looking. And that's not the truck driver's fault or whoever pulled, but it's gonna make it worse. these kids are, I don't have children in school anymore, but I think everybody in Sayreville would not want their children to be crossing or walking along Arnston Road. So I really would love not to have that truck traffic. And I don't even live off of Arnston Road. I live on the other side. But it will affect me and I think a lot of other people in this town. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Barbara Berend. I live on 42 Ivy Hill Road in Parlin. First of all, I want to thank the council for purchasing the open space. I just want to add more trees will be cleaner air. And I also agree with the three previous ladies who spoke, and I'm asking respectfully the council to consider having the truck use the Main Street bypass instead of Arnston Road. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? If not, I'll entertain a motion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Maybe we have to break.
Okay, take a few minute break just to pass out the agendas and we'll start back up.
Hey, sorry, I got disconnected.
Okay. We just closed the council session. We're taking a few minutes, and then we're gonna open up the agenda session, okay?
All right, thank you, Terry.
You're welcome. I'll have the mayor sign it, so that's all right. I'll have to do it. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's a direction, they're being sent to Main Street Extension. They're gonna be pushing for it, just like.
Councilman, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. And all of the trucks with the ice cream, they're all, yeah, on cars. Your section's right. It wasn't intended.
I'm sorry, I just got interrupted. I wanted to ask you, when will you be back in town?
I'll be back on Saturday.
Okay, can you stop in sometime next week to sign the resolutions and as much as you were, as much as you voted on them? All right, touch base with me then sometime on Monday and we'll coordinate, okay? Okay, thanks.
As soon as you're ready, Terry. Mary's on her way back. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, born and unborn.
Terry, statement of publication.
Yes, take notice that this agenda session, meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council being held on the 19th day of August, 2019, has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Here.
Delina, Enriquez,
Here.
Kilpatrick, McGill, Novak.
Yeah.
Okay, call out if there's any questions regarding ordinance number 462-19, 466-19, or 467-19. Committee reports, Councilman McGill.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Minutes and departmental reports. Move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. Number one, the municipal clerk's monthly report for the month of July 2019. And number two, the CFO's investment activity report for the month of July 2019.
Second.
Receive and file. B, applications for bingo raffle licenses. If you don't mind, Mr. Mayor, I will read them down according to the schools. Number one, Save a War Memorial Band Parents Association. Number two, St. Stan's HSA. Number three, St. Stan's HSA. Number four, St. Stan's HSA. Out of HSAs. Number five, PTO at Wilson School. Notice of public hearing received from the following. My God.
1 through 7.
1 through 7 from PSE and G.
Second.
Thank you. Received tax appeals from the following: McDonald's Corporation, Job 02 Incorporated, covering Block 43901, Lot 6.02, 970 Route 9, and number 2, Verizon, covering Block 999, Lot number 1, referring to Tax Council. And E, notice of tort claim filed by Victoria Userdyke for an incident that took place on May 16th, 2019. That's it. Other than that, progress.
You want that last one referred to JIF and attorney?
Oh, reverting to JIF, yes.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, Councilman Delina, Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Mayor.
minutes and departmental reports, numbers 1 through 4, received and filed.
Second.
B, notice of adjacent municipality property owner. 1, notice of hearing held before the planning board on August 14, 2019 for Zenban Street LLC. Application request final site plan approval, waiver site plan requirements. 2, notice of hearing before the planning board received from developer of the place of Sayreville to appear before the planning board on August 21st, 2019, received and filed.
Second.
Application for temporary trailer license removed from Pinnacle Commercial Development. Place 1 temporary office trailer on block 440, lot 3.01, 969, Route 9, South Amber, received and filed, approval or deny.
Okay. No problem.
Approved, is it approved?
What would you like to do with that? Approve it or deny it?
Councilman, you looking to approve the trail application?
Yes, that's correct. It was looking to
Okay.
approve it.
Next item?
Request received from 901 Ernston Road Realty Associates to refund bond covering 901 Ernston Road for Jay.
Anything else?
Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, I move that the minutes and departmental reports as listed on the agenda under A, 1 and 2 be received and filed.
Second.
Under B, I'd like these approved, 1 and 2. Committee report, I'd just like to say we've been working very, very hard this year. We will be starting MacArthur Avenue, hopefully, before school starts. We can only hope. Also, the county is going to be working, getting the last of the railroad trolley ties out of Main Street. And although it's going to be difficult to get around, this is something that will, I don't know if anybody's been, it's like a washboard on Main Street. That's because the old trolley tracks are still there in certain sections. They're going to be removing the remainder. So we're very happy about that. Also, I'd like to say the PBA picnic is on Sunday. Public is invited. You can buy tickets at the door. Let me tell you, you get more in food than they charge in price, and everybody's invited. It's a good time to have you all. There's a lot of stuff for the children to do, too, so if you want to get your kids out of the house for a day, it's a good thing to do. Other than that, progress.
Mayor, can I just, one thing to that? There is a notice that is on our website, and if anyone's listening, talking about train tracks, the Conrail train track on the Main Street extension will be reconstructed, and it's supposed to start this Thursday and Friday with detours around the borough. So there's going to be a lot of traffic. There'll be traffic all around from Kennedy Boulevard up to Ernston Road, but it's for 2 full days. We want to get it done before school. They came in, they wanted it done after school. We negotiated with Conrail to do it before school. So it will be done this Thursday and Friday. If it leaks over, it could leak over to Saturday. So residents, please be aware and make sure you take a look at the detour signs that are there, because there will be a lot of traffic in town. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Councilwoman Novak?
Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Recreation, Councilman Enriquez.
Thank you, Mayor. Move the following minutes reports be received and filed. Recreation Director's report for the month of July 2019.
Second.
Application for a special event received from the following: Dorcadis Temple to conduct religious celebrations from September 2nd through 8th, 2019 at 717 Washington Road. Looking for approval.
Thank you. Anything else?
Yes, just have a quick rec update. We have a registration for all the fall programs and classes is now online at SayrevilleRec.com. We have still have 2 movies in the park on Saturday, August 24th and Saturday, September 7th. Admission is free. We have Sayreville Day coming up, being held September 14th from 12 to 4, and a rain date of September 21st. We also have the 11th annual Blast from the Past Classic Car Show and Concert. That is going to be held Sunday, September 15th, 1 to 4 p.m. at Kennedy Park. Rain date September 22nd, 4 to 7. We also have Woofstock Responsible Dog Ownership Day at Kennedy Park, September 22nd from 10 to 2. And that's it.
Anything else?
Progress.
All right, thank you. Water and Sewer, Councilman Kilpatrick.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes and reports be received and filed. The Water and Sewer Director's report for the month of July 2019.
Second.
Thank you. And notice of ISRA General Information Notice filed with the NJDEP from new owner of the property known as Block 251, Lot 2.01, 1 South Crossman Road, from Canfield Technologies to Alexander Properties Holding LLC, to receive and file. And I have no committee reports, just one other comment. I was able to attend a great pep rally for our junior Bombers football this past week. Wonderful day, hundreds of kids, parents, and I wish all of the kids a most successful and very healthy football season, along with our cheerleaders as well. And that's all. Progress, Mayor.
Thank you. Under my reports, I move the following minutes be received and filed. The Board of Health report for the month of June and July 2019, and the Registrar's report for the month of July 2019, as well as the Police Department report for the month of June and July 2019, and the Municipal Court report for the month of July 2019.
Second.
Next item would be under Mr. Frankel.
Thank you, Mayor. Authorization to appoint Rebecca Garbowski to the title of Insurance and Risk Manager and to amend Ordinance 437-19 to include this stipend at the annual rate of $7,500.
Any objections? Next item.
Authorization to continue participation in the ESCNJ Co-op Energy Aggregate Program for electricity and natural gas current aggregation agreements, which are expiring soon. ESCNJ requests all applications be returned by 8:30.
Any objections?
Authorization to award a contract to EB Fence for reservoir fencing through NJ State Contract TO 640A88679, an amount not to exceed $42,356.
Next item.
Authorization to appoint Tracy Ansley as Code Enforcement Officer, permanent full-time in the Construction Office, effective September 16th, 2019.
Next item.
Authorization to waive all fees for the installation of a generator for a Vietnam veteran who is suffering from ALS. And I just have one addition on that. I just discussed it, the planning with the Conrail Railroad track, so I discussed that in Mary's report. Under public safety, I'm going to, authorization to promote 1 lieutenant and 3 sergeants in the police department.
Any objections?
I'm going to hold off on number 2 for a second. Authorization to issue change order number 1 to Tactical Public Safety for the removal and replacement of equipment at the Pulaski Avenue standpipe in an amount not to exceed $16,086.36.
Next item.
Authorization to purchase turnout gear from New Jersey State Contract 17 Fleet 00810 from Skylands Area Fired Equipment in an amount not to exceed $44,917.14.
Next item.
Authorization to appoint Maria Gonzalez and Olga Scazzeri as school traffic guards. And I just have to have the schedule of the council. We have 2 grievances from the police department. We would like to schedule them on the next meeting, September 9th. Is it okay to schedule at 6, or do you want to do it in session in the meeting? What's your preference?
I'm just trying to pull my schedule up. Does anyone have any objections to going beforehand?
I think that's good.
Okay, what time are we going to start?
So we have 2, so I would start at 6 o'clock probably.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you. Authorization to promote Phil Quigley from General Supervisor of Public Works to the position of Assistant Superintendent of Public Works in accordance with Civil Service Promotional Procedures. Compensation will be increased by $3,000 annually. Authorization to amend Ordinance 43619 to include the title of Assistant Superintendent to Public Works. Authorization to amend Ordinance 43719 to include stipend of water treatment license, $7,500 for W3 license and $7,500 for C3 license annually in order to come into compliance with NJDEP. Dave Leitner.
I just have one question. Is this a stipend or is this going to be put in his salary?
This is a stipend.
Okay.
What's going on with that position? I haven't heard anything, seen anything.
What position?
The water director.
I mean,
There's a
put out,
vacancy.
we put out an application. We've had 2 responses, and that was it. And
What's the next
working,
step?
the next step is looking at possibly reorganizing the department. There seems to be a difficulty finding a T4 person according to our ordinances. I've been looking at some things with what other towns have done. Probably be able to give a report to the water committee, hopefully hopefully by the next meeting, as a little bit of reorganization, some ideas that I think I have.
Do we interview those two yet?
We have not interviewed those two, no.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Next item?
Authorization to award a contract for water and sewer pump station repair and maintenance to Municipal Maintenance Company for the low bid price of $58,325 for water pump stations and $56,585 for sewer pump stations. See attached summary of the bids.
Okay.
And then to go back for discussion under public safety, we have EMS.
Okay. We had a public safety meeting about 2 weeks ago where we were presented the RFPs, and my understanding was that both emergency squads and the committee were in favor of going with one provider. Where are we with that?
Well, there's got to be discussion for the council on the provider and anything that the squad members, they're both presidents are here today for questions. The chief of police is here today for questions.
Okay. So we were going to call the EMS up, or is there any other discussion that you want to have first?
Well, I guess,
Review the two.
can
we put on record the two RFPs that were received and what two entities we were looking to consider? I know that the subcommittee met for this, but there were several of us not on that committee. So to bring us up to speed a little bit more on the discussions in that group so that we know what we're looking at. So the two groups that we were.
So the two groups that responded to the RFP was Robert Wood Johnson Healthcare System and Hackensack Meridian, let's call it Healthcare System. Hackensack Meridian Health Services, yes. So both came in, both responded to our RFPs. I will tell you that both are doing this for other municipalities that surround us. I checked out the references of both. Both references were fine. At the committee meeting, we did have some discussion about trying to compare apples to apples on each one. We had both presidents of the squad there. One of the issues that came up was Hackensack Meridian in the RFP did not provide medical direction and did not provide a computer software system.
Can I just ask a question before we go that far into it? Are both squads in agreement that we need to supplement for the safety and security of the borough by bringing in an outside company? I want to make sure that we have the agreement here from the squads that we are now officially at a point within the borough that we can't handle this on our own, so we're going to need some help. I just want to make sure that we're all in agreement here. Is that what was discussed at the committee? And
yes.
Are we all in agreement? I know we have our squads here.
Let's have the two presidents come up and just
To at
make
least
sure,
answer
'cause
that
we did ask them
question.
to come. We did ask them to come to put aside any concerns or doubts that the residents may have that the EMT, our squads are against or in favor of this. So if you guys would.
Well, I'm going to speak first. I'm President Morgan First Aid Squad. I speak on behalf of my organization. My name is Don Riley Jr. I do not live in the borough of Sayreville. However, I do own some property in the borough. As the president of Morgan First Aid Squad, we do feel that there is a need to supplement our services. We feel that we've been working closely with the Public Safety Committee as far as showing them how our response times are working and different things. We helped formulate the proposal to go out to bid. We had some concerns on the responses. We discussed them at a meeting a couple of weeks ago. We feel that before the mayor and council makes a final decision, there's a couple concerns that had to be addressed, and now I understand the public is out there telling everybody that it was already awarded. And that upsets me. I've called 2 council people regarding that saying, how can it be publicly awarded already? We haven't even discussed it farther. And the entire governing body doesn't know what our opinion is. And I just feel that before we go further down the road, and both proposals are good. I can honestly say that both proposals work to help supplement the borough of Sayreville, which is a good thing. For about time, we finally got two good proposals on the table. We're leaning towards one of the proposals as, because of the fact some of the things that we've discussed in open discussion with them prior to the RFP going out. We feel that it's in the best interest of the borough of Sayreville to at least take the recommendations of the squads, because the squads have been doing this for 30-some years. We do feel down the road that there's a possibility that the borough of Sayreville may become the paid EMS, and we can eliminate both of these entities. It does work in other townships around us, and there's a possibility that could happen. Right now, as a volunteer organization, last month we answered over 200 calls in my side of town. We turned over a good percentage. Dan will tell you he gets 3 or 4 I am responding messages. Matter of fact, he got 2 tonight, right?
I did.
While we were sitting here in the council meeting, he got 2 I am responding messages. I've offered that to the BA, I've offered that to the other council people, so you can see what we have. I don't feel that either one of these entities on their own can put us out of business, because we are needed. However, I feel that we can probably work closer with one over the other because of the fact that they are closer to us, they have facilities, they're willing to work with us. And they said that prior to coming out for requests for bid and things like that. Dexter?
Yeah. Dexter Thomas, 151 Main Street. I feel this way Don feels. Also, I feel that the one organization didn't live up to RFP. There were some things that we had to ask for, and they did not include that in the RFP. And like I said, we're hoping that myself, I got 40 years in this, okay? 40 years, all right? And I'm hoping that you understand where I'm coming from, all right? I don't come up here and ask you guys for anything, all right? But I'm asking you for what we want to go with us. There's a reason why. We want some agents that are going to work with us, all right? I have been to the meeting with Robert Wood and I'll say JFK or Meridian. And there's things that we have to ask for, and there's things that they said JFK they couldn't do and wouldn't do, all right? Robert Wood said they would do it. Now, I know for a fact Robert Wood started probably in the 70s doing BOS, okay? JFK started up years ago. Now, the reason why I know that, because like I said, I've been around, and I know some of the people. And like Donnie said, the same thing. I've been around from different squads and going to the hospitals, and it just irks me to see that they come up to me and say, oh, I understand that JFK's taking over. And I'm saying, what are you talking about? I said, that's not true. Well, that's what we heard, all right? And I don't know where they heard it from. I don't know who they heard it from. But I'm asking you guys to make the right decision. And another thing, like you said, some of you guys wasn't invited to none of these meetings. And honestly, you should be coming to the meeting and sit down. So if anything, maybe put the vote off for tonight so you all can sit down and go over these plans, you know, instead of just making, yeah, I admit, yeah, we need help during the daytime, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Everybody knows that, all right? Because people don't volunteer like they used to, all right? And I remember years ago, we probably had 60 people on the squad, but now people going to school, people leaving town. So like I said, if you want to put the vote off, you know what, maybe next week at least all you can sit down, all right, and go over everything, not just a few people. This way you can make the right decision. And also I understand that JFK want to pay the town $100,000 for dispatch, all right? That was never, did they give Robert Wood Johnson that? No, that was never included. The police department always wanted to do the dispatch, and there was a reason why. So that if a call go in, that dispatcher know where the ambulance coming from, what's going on and everything. Once you take it out of their hand, you don't know when the ambulance getting there, where is it coming from, all right? So I'm just asking you, just take that into consideration that, like I said, I've been doing this 40 years, and I'm asking you to please listen to us.
And you both read the proposals?
Yes, I did.
And what would be your recommendation to this council?
My recommendation would be Robert Wood.
Reason?
Reason, because they want to work with us, all right? I'll give you an example. I know Dan stood up there, and he said, I talked to other people, but my question is, you talked to the business administrator from other towns. You didn't talk to the squad people, and that's the problem. Edison, example, JFK is in Edison. You know what Edison does now? Basically just go to football standbys, all right? They didn't want to work with the town. Robert Wood wanted to work with the town. Remember back in January, we brought this up, and I asked him, I said, what'll happen if we have a crew in town that day, all right? And Robert Wood said, if you give us 6 hours, and I said, no. Let us give you 24 hours notice that we'll have a crew in town. Would you send, and he said, no, we wouldn't send the ambulance in town if we knew you had a crew, but we'll send one for a backup if you need it. I asked that same question to JFK, and they told me, no. It's either we doing everything. So basically what you're telling me is that you want to get rid of the volunteer. Now, Serval Squad, like I said, been in for 80-some years. They have been to, when the thing flew up in Lakehurst, they was there. 9/11, I was there. The Pope Downville of Philadelphia, I was there. The train wreck in Woodbridge, the squad was there. That was before my time, all right? All right? But there's a lot of things this squad has done. And some people don't know that, all right, because nobody never asked. But don't turn your back on the squad. And you know what? We're trying to get better, like Donnie said. Within 6 months, hopefully we can up, the two squad merge, be up and building and doing it, all right? But my recommendation first is Robert Wood.
And you're the president of
I'm the
Serval, right?
President of Serval Emergency Squad.
Don, you have anything to say?
Well, I just want to reiterate the fact that we definitely know there's a problem. We definitely know that it needs to be worked on. We've been open to the Borough of Serval and trying to work with them. And as far as the Morgan First Aid Squad is concerned, if we're going to work with anybody, we want to work with somebody that's going to try and stay with us and keep us as part of the Borough of Serval. The other thing you got to look at is the taxpayers of this town are going to get a bill no matter which organization goes out there, whether it be JFK, whether it be Robert Wood. And you better take a look at that proposal and take a look at the dollar amounts and what they're going to charge you for an ambulance. Because every one of us out here needs that ambulance, and your insurance isn't going to cover it. Somewhere along the line, somebody's going to have to pick up that bill. And I know some people said, oh, well, the $100,000 will go towards EMS, and that's fine. The $100,000 can go towards EMS. But what happens on July 1st when Councilman here needs an ambulance and there's no more money from that $100,000 to supplement him? Who's going to pay his bill? Is the Borough of Serval going to pay his bill? Or what's going to happen with that? Is he going to hit with that $2,700 bill? So again, you got to be careful when, and I've said this numerous times, different council meetings, different meetings with different members of the Public Safety Committee. Make sure we're getting what we're asking for. And the reason that we agreed on 6 months is because hopefully 6 months from now, we can be standing here in front of this mayor and council and say the Morgan and Serval First Aid Squads have got this conquered. We're going to start doing possibly billing. We're possibly going to do our own in-house EMS and work like an Old Bridge system or a Woodbridge system or a Monroe system. They all work. They're all municipal based, and they are something that we are looking forward to trying to accomplish. We want to keep it in-house. We want to keep that. And by going with one entity over the other entity, and I'll be upfront and say, JFK basically has already turned off Edison Township. They've basically shut down all EMS at Edison because I am involved as I sell medical supplies to all these counties. I've seen how Robert Wood works. I've seen how JFK works. JFK and Robert Wood have both taken on more. Matter of fact, as of today, Robert Wood just took on time transport, which means guess what? They just got 40 more trucks. Do they have the capabilities? Remember, we already talked about this. You're pulling from the same EMT base and same everything, whether it's paid, volunteer, whatever. So what we're asking for is the opportunity for this mayor and council to go forward and give us 6 months, give whoever you give the contract to, whether you give it to Robert Wood or give it to JFK, but when we revisit it in 6 months, let's revisit it with the plan that Morgan and Serval are going to exist, and the volunteers are going to exist, but we're going to supplement the volunteers with some type of a paid entity within town. And that's my personal feelings, that's my feelings as president of the organization. I've been on the squad 34 years. I've been president 14 of the 34 years I've been here. I feel that deep down in heart, I'm a Sayreville resident, even though I'm not a Sayreville resident. But I just feel that it's in the best interest of both squads, the mayor and council, and the residents. Again, the residents, the most important people here, need to know more about what's going on. And I think, like Dexter said, if you guys don't want to put it off, you don't have to put it off. But I really think you should consider before voting on it, both proposals, and every member of the council should understand both proposals before they vote on it. That's all I'd like to say. Thank you.
One more thing, so you know, the council people, if you decide to put it off, understand that there's already a mutual aid system already. So in other words, there's a mutual aid agreement that if there is a call, they can call Robert Wood without a contract. They can call Old Bridge, JFK without a contract. So it ain't like if you don't do anything right now, there's still gonna be a mutual aid agreement in, all right? So my consideration that if you wanna sit down, like I said, and go over it the right way, all right? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, both of you, for coming up. I think that the discussion portion, and I agree, I wish we could all kind of sit down together and go over this, not in committees, but it's my understanding in all these years, the reason why we have committees, because there's laws about how many of us can actually meet together at the same, yeah, everything from going to the bathroom. This might be a long meeting where we have to have a long discussion. This is where we're supposed to have this discussion. Am I correct? Yes, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's good that you guys are here. And I thank you all for being a part of that subcommittee discussion. And I thank you all for doing the service that you do for this town and coming up and saying what you just did. We need help. I don't want to see our volunteers go anywhere. I'm glad that you put forth and let everybody know this, whichever way we go is only for 6 months, which is great because it's a great trial period for us here as a council. If we go with one and that doesn't work out in 6 months, we get to revisit and determine whether we want to renew with one or potentially go with another. But I would like to get a little bit more involved with the two proposals so we can make a decision, whether it be tonight or if we decide collectively to change it. I have to be honest, guys, I agree. We have a mutual aid system in place right now, but it's my understanding that those ambulances aren't sitting in our town right now. That was one of the benefits of going with the RFPs. I think it brings them in-house. I don't know if I want to keep bringing them up or if somebody here wants to speak on the RFP. How would you like to conduct it, Mayor?
You know, I don't have the knowledge that Dexter or Don have, so I leaned on them on the committee because we wanted to go over the proposals and see. One of the biggest sticking points was the medical direction. They're obligated by law to have a medical director, and they've been paying out of their own pockets for that direction. Now, when they're working in conjunction with one of these companies, they're required to meet certain standards, correct?
Correct.
And one organization in their RFP said that they're going to provide the medical direction, whereas the other one said they would not. But they want them to follow the same rules. So that would be a little issue that we have down the road with the one organization opposed to the other. So yeah, we did go over it. Again, the committee leaned on the emergency services because of their history and their background and their knowledge of what the verbiage is in those reports. So when they made the recommendations, the committee went forward with those recommendations. Dexter, go ahead.
Yeah, to answer your question in regards to the distance, Robert Wood actually has probably 5 or 6 ambulance stationed at the East Brunswick building, which is probably a good 4 or 5 minute drive. Correct, Mary? All right. And JFK, they usually have some stationed over in the Port Reading area. All right. Because for the last couple of months, I was off because of my shoulder. So what I used to do was just take a ride around just to see where these trucks were positioned at. This way I couldn't come up, this way I could tell you where these trucks was at. I know where it was at, all right? And I know that a couple of times, Robert Wood, we didn't ask them, they had put a truck in town. I see them sitting behind Wawa, all right? Because they knew there was overflow of calls.
That's what they're doing now.
Yeah.
With these RFPs, how many ambulance will we have from RWJ? How many?
And the RFP was one from each, all right?
One from each?
Yes.
Okay.
And then if you got a call, what happened was they would bring another ambulance and replace that one that went out of town.
I feel like I'm keeping score. I'm just trying to hash out, I got one column here for RWJ, one for, and this drove me insane, JFK is Hackensack
Yeah,
Meridian.
I called
So
JFK, I'm sorry.
drives me up a wall because I feel like I'm talking about three different entities, but not. So one from each would then, under the RFPs, be stationed here,
Correct.
correct? Dan, you have the RFPs, right? Okay, good. So that way we can go back and forth.
And like you said, the only thing that, and I'll bring it, Robert Wood said that they would give us the medical direction and everything, but JFK said no, they wouldn't give it to us. All right?
I think, and my only question is, I gotta go over this one more time. Did JFK say they wouldn't, or they didn't put it in their proposal?
It wasn't in the proposal.
It wasn't in their proposal. It didn't say they wouldn't. Right, but I just want to make, see, these are questions that I'm just saying we need to straighten out.
Go ahead.
Just to answer that, Dan.
Yep.
They did not put it in their proposal, but they flat out had said to us that they legally couldn't provide us with that.
That's what they said.
Yeah.
That was flat out said in the meeting that they could not provide us with it. So how can one entity provide us with something that we need, the other one tells us that they can't? The only thing I see for that is that they don't want us around. Basically, they
No.
want to take control.
That makes, I don't like you guys feeling that way, and I don't like any entity that's going to try and work our volunteers out of the equation, because you guys have been here, you guys deserve to be here, and you deserve the opportunity to rebuild your numbers, so that way you can come back to the strength that they are. In order for any of these groups, whether it be RWJ or Hackensack Meridian, do they have the right to push our volunteers out without consent from the council? Okay. Because I'm not a fan of any entity that thinks they're gonna come in and tell us what to do with our volunteers. So is that something that legally Mike DuPont, either Robert Wood or JFK has the right to turn around and say, we're eliminating your volunteers? That's gotta come before us, right? So they can't do that.
No.
That they can't eliminate our volunteers?
No, that's not in there.
About the need,
About the
that they're
need.
here as a need to supplement
will
our
fill that
volunteers.
need.
Yeah, they're only allowed to come here
When, right.
when we need them, right? They're only responding when we need them.
No, they're going to be here 6 to 6.
Right, the time that we need them, because that's what you guys said, you needed your help from 6 AM to 6 PM, right? Right?
However, again, like I said was, yeah, they're gonna be here from 6 AM to 6 PM or whatever. But again, I don't want to take on the police chief or the police department or dispatch or anybody else. But if I don't get a crew at 8:30 in the morning and I get a crew at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's shame on me because they just started putting the button in for that paid entity the whole day. Now, we agreed to 6 hours, correct, Dexter, if I'm wrong? 6 hours time. We actually offered them 24 hours, both of these entities, so that we would still be first dispatched and done. And we were told, well, if we're here 6 to 6, we're here for the first call no matter what. Correct?
Correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dexter.
Yes, that's correct.
That's exactly what I was told by a member of one of the people here doing the proposal at the meeting that we sat through. So again, I get that funneled down here on my heart saying, well, they don't want the volunteers around. And I've seen it happen in other towns. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with either one of these organizations. They're both quality organizations. They both know what they're doing. They've both been doing it for many years. But I feel that one is more friendly to us than the other one is. That's my own personal opinion as a president of the squad and also as a member.
I'm just telling them, they can, I don't want to take, I know my questions, if they have any, you guys have any, okay. Both are putting one in, both are covering the hours that you need.
Wait, did you just say they're both giving us a director? They are not?
No,
No,
no.
no,
Oh, no,
not
I'm
direct.
putting.
One
okay,
ambulance.
next
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
Putting the ambulance in stores.
I'm storing what I know. Okay. Any other questions from anybody? No. What else?
I have one question.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Don.
Go ahead, Don. It's public
I'd
portion.
like to just know if the entire council has read both proposals.
No.
Well, again go back to reiterate to say that we shouldn't be able to vote on something that we haven't read. That's my own opinion.
Right now, we're not voting on it.
No,
It's
I'm
just a
just-
discussion
even-
to come up for the
Yeah,
next,
no, but even,
at our next council meeting.
well, that's what I'm saying, but by the next council meeting,
Right.
hopefully, and if you have questions,
All right.
you should come to us.
Okay. All right. So just discussion, okay.
That's what we want.
This is just discussion.
Okay, all right.
Do you want to meet at 5 o'clock and ask the first aid squads to come so we can, we're going to,
Well, no, just say if you want.
yeah, but you
You
haven't
should
read the
read the
proposals.
proposal,
Maybe after you read the proposals, you'll have more questions of them.
I'd have more questions.
I would definitely have.
Yeah, and we'll be there, all right? We'll be there if you want us there,
We'll be there.
all right?
I'm representing, Dexter's representing. If I'm not, I have my vice president that will represent us. It's been involved 30
So we'll do 5
years.
o'clock?
Do we want to bring it here? You want to do 5 o'clock?
Well, we're already meeting at 6 for grievances, so.
5 o'clock is good enough for me, all right?
That's what I just said.
Hold on. Let me just, I checked 6. So oh, I just lost my phone just freaking died. I think I'll probably be good for 5. I'm sure I'm probably good
That's
for
why they can have time to read and digest them and ask
I've got it.
questions. Other questions to be asked.
Oh, you mean between 5 and 6?
I don't think it's enough time.
Okay.
Whatever you guys need us, what time?
We'll be there,
We'll be
but
there.
we'll be there. We'll
all
make
right?
sure we're there.
If it's Sunday morning.
Whatever you guys, special council meeting, whatever you need. We're willing to work with you guys because you're working with us.
Councilman Deline, are you there, still there? Hello?
I think we lost him.
He gave up.
Fell asleep.
What do you mean we put you to sleep? Is there anything else you want to say? You think I did everything?
Monday for the next meeting, whatever it is, it's got to be before we have the meeting.
Mary,
What is the approval of the council? Can we meet prior to a regular council meeting or can we not?
As long as it just has to be right advertised that we're meeting. We lost you. You're back
and
on.
as far as I'm concerned, whatever time.
Whatever, yeah, I mean, a
I'll-
weekend, a week,
yeah.
evening, whatever you want to do, we'll do.
I don't need
But
that.
I think it should be special.
I read quick, I take notes fast. I mean, for the interest of the residents here and making sure we move forward with something, so we're supplemented appropriately. Right now.
Yes, we are.
We have people kind of coming from different spots. I do not like what I'm hearing. I don't like the way the start of this meeting occurred. I don't want residents concerned about some of those, allegations, issues, whatever you call.
Finish that out. In regards to your letter, who did you send that letter to?
Dan, I asked Dan and Becky to work on the letter together, so that was the one regarding the captain.
That's a different issue.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. I don't want to go there. That's a whole nother thing. I want
We'll talk
our
afterwards.
residents.
We'll get Dan to
Yeah, we'll
tell you.
talk
I feel like we need to make a decision on this sooner rather than later, this.
I've given,
What about next
I've
Monday?
given this public safety committee
Can we
all the monthly
advertise in
reports of
enough
the
time?
squad, what we've answered,
What's the date?
everything else, and we're willing to do that.
He's gonna give us the date.
Sure.
What are we doing? What's the pleasure?
Whatever you guys decide is fine with me.
Special meeting?
My phone is dead right now, so.
Especially dedicated, you can spend as much time as you want, and you have a special meeting. If you're not, you do it at 5 and hope.
When you guys come to the meeting, maybe you write down the questions that you have for us. It's real, shorten it up.
Yeah, let's do the Monday before it's 5 o'clock,
Okay. All right, thank
Monday
you.
before what?
September 9th meeting.
We'll do 5
It's
o'clock on
September 9th,
September the 9th. I'll be here.
And if we have to carry it over, we carry it over.
All right,
Take
thank
me
you.
more than an hour to answer questions.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So September the 9th, we just bumped us to 5 PM, right? Okay. Can you pull up,
Okay, Dan, continue on.
9, 10, 11.
Okay, next item, CFO's report.
Mic on?
Authorization to award a temporary contract for accounting services to O'Connor Davies LLP.
Next item.
No issues with that.
Okay. Borough Engineers report.
Thank you, Mayor. 2 items. First is the Borough Hall boiler replacement. That project's been completed. We're recommending it be closed out and a change order be adopted. It's going to increase the contract by about $4,500. There was additional work requested by your Buildings and Grounds Department to fix some problems. So that's part of this change order. So we'd like resolutions at your next meeting. Second item is the Sabre Corporation. They asked us to review a bond release. They've completed all the outstanding works. We're looking for resolution releasing their bond. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Borough Attorney's report. No report, Mayor. Okay, at this time, there's nothing for executive session. Okay, we're going to go on to the public portion. At this time, we'll open up the public portion for any and all comments. Yes, ma'am, come on up. When you get to the microphone, please state your name and address, please.
Nice and loud.
Nice and loud.
My name is Regina Lodato. I live at 20 Frazee Avenue. I'm a resident for the past 53 years. I have used the Morgan First Aid Squad with 7 children and 2 husbands many, many times. They have been accurate. They have been very fast getting there. I live in the Melrose section, and I've never had a problem. My husband had seizures, had a heart attack, all different kinds of things happen with the children. Myself going to the hospital, I have never paid them not 1 cent. I just want you to be aware, when you bring in Robert Wood Hospital and you bring in JFK, you will be paying. Every neighbor I have will be paying for the ambulance, just so you know. I do want to thank you very much for the open space land that you bought. I think that's great and wonderful. And I do want to say thank you to each and every one of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank you. You have a great night.
You too.
Any other questions? Anyone else wish to speak at this time? Oh, hold on. We have somebody. Come on.
I rescind that. Second.
Janice Benedetto, 1 Thomas Avenue in the Melrose section. And, the residents of Melrose, my neighbors that are here, my neighbors that watch on YouTube or on Optimum Cablevision Channel 15, have been following the open space purchase, and we thank you all for passing ordinance 464-19. And I know that we'll be celebrating when you finally announce that it's a complete done deal, and that the town is the owner, and the 4+ acres are going to be used as open space. And we really appreciate this, especially considering we couldn't, even though it was recommended by the Open Space Committee, seem to accomplish the Cross Avenue Oak Street National Lead 22 acres being purchased as such, even though the Open Space Committee recommended it. So if we at least accomplish this, we thank the former council members and the existing council members. And please keep us updated while we might not physically be here. We're watching everything that goes on. When things are actually finally accomplished, and if there are little progress reports, we would greatly appreciate it. So thank you very much. And the other thing, listening to some of the EMS things that are going on, how can I put it? Now you've scheduled a meeting for 3 weeks from now. Okay, one of the things we brought up in all of the discussion of the National Lead 22 acres and all of the COA issues was the fact that with increasing our population in this town, we were going to have problems with volunteer services, emergency medical services, fire department volunteers, as well as the school systems and what have you. And we don't even have one unit built yet, and we're having those problems. It's good to consider that the volunteer emergency 2 squads think they're going to have volunteers in 6 months, but realistically in this day and age, particularly between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., that may not occur. And the way, since I've been coming to these meetings over the last couple of years, things progress very, very slowly. And it really is terrifying to me, as it's going to be to the residents listening to all of this right now, if all of a sudden you yourself aren't feeling well, or the life of a loved one depends upon somebody getting to your house. And there's so many things that can go wrong. You don't want to be in the midst of red tape or, proper political procedure and what have you. You don't want to have there be confusion, which listening to this, I think could occur in, whether there's a team from the volunteers that are responsible, or who's dispatching who. You don't want to be in the middle of some sort of mix-up and be there having the heart attack and need a defibrillator, okay? And you don't want it to be your loved one that dies because of this. And the town really can't afford a lawsuit because of a mix-up like, or improper staffing or things of that sort. So this is not something that can go through a political process and take forever to take place, like, buying 4 acres of open space land or all of the COA processes. And this is exactly what the residents were concerned about with all of these units being built. And it's happening, and we don't have 1 unit yet. And this has got to happen faster. 3 weeks from now, our meeting just means how many lives can be affected by, all of this in the meantime. It's scary. It really is scary. And if it's your life on the line or your loved one's life on the line, it can't take all of this kind of time to be part of the political machine and the red tape and what have you. This needs action fast. So I really am, and as the residents are, from Melrose and the rest of the town, depending on all of you to make sure that this doesn't fall victim to the process that I've experienced the last couple of months. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
A couple of months, I should really say over the last couple of years, since 2017, when all of the COA more or less ordinance came to being, and we started attending the meetings. And I'm, thinking about it now, it's been over 2 years. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Yes, Mr. Horn.
Joseph Horn, 23 Patton Drive, Saraville, member of Melrose Host Company as well. First, they all left, but I really wanted to, because that's not what I came up here earlier. It's not all of them. So I applaud them for recognizing there's a problem and trying to fix it. However, you guys got to consider a few things. Dexter got his timing wrong. JFK's only been doing this for 4 years, not even 4 years yet. And they're biting off more than they can chew. I work for a municipality. My best friend is a supervisor in another neighboring municipality. JFK is running out of the city of Perth Amboy. Why is Carteret? Why is Woodbridge? 4 agencies going into Perth Amboy almost every day. Every day. JFK guaranteed them the world, but we're going in there every day to back them up because they're biting off more than they can chew. Dexter's right. It's in the 70s, probably the 60s, Robert Wood's been doing the city of New Brunswick and expanding little by little every year. No complaints, no problems with that. JFK, I'm admitting it, is going to be a nightmare in your world. They cannot back up anything they're ever guaranteeing. Another thing you want to look at, like what the 2 women brought up, one of them, you want to find out if they're going to hard bill or soft bill your residents. Okay, so that means they're going after them. They're gonna go after your residents for the remainder of the bill that the insurance don't cover. Soft billing would be if they're doing a service to this town, they don't go after the residents. Whatever insurance pays, pays. Have a nice day. We do that in my municipality, where I work. We don't go after the residents. It's wrong. The other thing is, as a member of the fire department here, and particularly having family and friends that live here, the reason why Carteret and Woodbridge Township, 4 squads in Woodbridge, by the way, still keep going in the Perth Amboy, so 5 agencies technically. Why should the residents be waiting so long for that ambulance? Never heard that problem with Robert Wood, ever. Fire standbys, if we're at a fire, which one of these agencies, and this is where it falls on both of them, you gotta remember this. Who's covering the fire scene so that one of us don't get hurt, or if we get hurt, we need them, and who's covering your town? You have to make sure of these things. These are things you gotta think outside the box. 28 years I've been doing this, so I have a little bit of knowledge of it. And I see it every day. I gotta call mutual aid in when I'm at a big scene to make sure I got staffing to cover my town, the residents. So you gotta be aware of all this before you make your final decision who you're bringing in. But I'm telling you, one of these agencies is biting off more than they can chew. Coming in here, they're gonna drop it probably another 8. They keep dropping, picking up, dropping, picking up, dropping, picking up. Monarch did that, they're gone. Rural Metro did that, they're gone. So be careful on who you really choose, you need to look at the experience of the two. So that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else from the public wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is Robert Cartagena. I reside at 48 Harshore Way, Parlin, New Jersey. And I'm here to thank you very much on behalf of my family, my neighbors, for working so hard on the ordinance for 6319. We thank you very, very much for the time, effort you spend for many, many, many months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Anyone else wish to speak? If not, make a motion. Second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you.